Good afternoon, and welcome to the kickoff and inaugural event for 901 AI. This is a really exciting time for all of us to be here, as AI is such a cutting-edge technology, and as the Center for Cutting-Edge Technologies in the Memphis area, the FIT, the FedEx Institute of Technology, wants to be the center for all AI in Memphis. With that being said, we are very happy. Oops, sorry, I have not used this before. We're very happy to have everyone here today. Come on through, everybody, if you're coming through the exits or entrances here. We're really happy to have everyone. A few items of note. We do apologize about the logistical issues with the food as you were walking in and registering. During the networking session after our talk is done today, you will be able to network and enjoy that, some of those small bites. As well as with the queuing system for our mics. That's what I wanted to talk about. So it's a really cool system. So when you're wanting to speak, all you'll do is you'll tap on your mic and it will be red when your mic is live. It will be flashing red when your mic is next, flashing green when you're next, and it will be solid green when you're next after that. So when you're finished with your question, you just tap your mic off and the next person will be able to speak. If you really have some, camera shyness or you're not really good at public speaking, you may think about it because those cameras up there, those cameras over my other shoulder will zoom in and your face will be front and center here on this big screen behind me. I kid. This is not a non-judgmental group. This is a fun group. With that being said, I'd like to welcome our Executive VP for Research and Innovation, Dr. Jasbir Dhaliwal, to give our opening talk. Thank you.
Welcome to the University of Memphis. Before I start, let me just tell you a little bit of story. This is going back many, many years. I don't know, some of you may not have been born then. It was 1988. I was a doctoral student up in Canada, and my PhD supervisor comes to me and says, there's this thing called artificial intelligence. We both had a little bit of a laugh, about artificial and intelligence, right? Because intelligence is supposed to be human, right? We had a small laugh, and he says, yeah, but DARPA has a big event in Seattle on how important it was going to become. So the two of us got in a car, drove down, and spent a whole day with the Department of Defense people. This is 1988. I went back and wrote a research paper. It was called The Validation of Knowledge-Based Systems. And it was my, PhD student. It was my first journal paper. That means it went through a journal. And it was talking about how do you validate, how do you make sure artificial intelligence is real, right? But, and subsequently, 2 years later, when it was time to do my doctoral dissertation, I didn't, even at that time, you don't realize the significance of these things, about AI. My dissertation was on something that today is called XAI, explainable artificial intelligence. Being able to explain, just like our keynote speaker will explain a lot afterwards, right, is a intelligent behavior, right? So if modern systems are to be intelligent, they must be able to explain. So the question really is, how do we build systems that can explain, right? Well, one approach is to say we need to create knowledge representation schemes or mechanisms. That means we must represent the knowledge in machines in a way where explanation is easily facilitated. So now looking back all these years, I didn't realize mine was one of the first doctoral dissertations in an area called XAI, right? But at that time, we don't understand the significance of it. And so that's my background in AI. In some ways, I'm pleased that it has caught fire, the last 10 years, right? And has become so important today. But in other ways, I think, I worry that maybe, it is the latest buzzword the IT industry has found, right, to sell you a lot of technology. Just like data warehousing was one big phase, and, you can name it. But again, it's not for me to judge that, right? Some of you are going to be on the selling side of this technology. Some of you are going to be working on the use of this technology, right? How you use it will impact, how society will benefit from this technology. So why are we setting up this group today called 901 AI. Why? Because today, countries are evaluated based on the number of patterns, number of resources, number of folks who understand, the number of experts you have in AI. We in Memphis want to be players in that game. This game is important for the next 30, 40 years at least, right? So we can't just let it pass by and be a desert for artificial intelligence. So the university has been working very hard at this, to get a whole bunch more faculty. Not only hire more faculty in artificial intelligence, but also get faculty in so many different colleges and institutes on campus working in AI. We have strong foundations to build on. On the 4th floor of this building, on the FedEx Institute of Technology building, on the 4th floor is an institute called the Institute of Intelligent Systems. Now, intelligent systems was the first application of artificial intelligence if you go back to the 90s. They were also called expert systems. They were also called knowledge-based systems at that time, right? Now, we have had this institute here, which is a collaboration between psychology and computer science on campus. We have had it here for about 30 over years now. And over the years, it has brought in at least 30, $40 million of federal research dollars. So we actually have a strong foundation to build on AI. But today's event is to not just the close to 100 faculty we have here on campus now who are working on AI, but we want to engage you in the community as well. If you're a technology company, come partner with us on AI. If you are a company that is thinking about how will AI impact my operations or my growth, come and talk to us. Remember, we have experts here who can engage with you as well, right? Our research development team, led by Cody Bayliss, is working so hard at getting so many more research dollars from the National Science Foundation, the Department of Defense, and other federal agencies here. So that we want AI, the knowledge of AI to come here. We want the resources, right? The smart people in AI to be here. Now, how will we attract the smart people here if there's a community of us working in AI, right? So this is my challenge to you. The university and the FedEx Institute of Technology is here to support you. We don't want AI, 901 AI to be something that we run for you. Rather, we want it to be something you run for all our city, our larger region in that sense. So if you are interested in playing a role in shaping what 901 AI is or can become, right, please contact Brent, and Rami is here somewhere as well, right? Shoot them an email right over there, right? Contact them and say, hey, I want to be involved in this. Now, we have done this before. Going back about 8, 9 years ago, there was so much happening in blockchain. And there was not internationally, but there wasn't a lot of stuff happening in blockchain here in Memphis. We brought in some trainers from Canada, and when we offered the training, our rooms were full. And then out of that, a group emerged called 901 Blockchain. A group of professionals, some of them working at FedEx, International Paper, some of them home enthusiasts, who work at home, who were interested in blockchain. So let's all now again come together and build a community of artificial intelligence here, so that when our city is out there recruiting companies to come to Memphis, they'll say, wow, there's a 901 AI group, there's a bunch of professionals they can hire, right? At the same time, let's explore what are the applications of AI will make sense in our city to solve our city's issues and also growth areas for the city as well, right? So I won't say anything else, but there will be a reception outside for you to mingle. Send your names to Rami and Brent, right? And form yourselves into a group. We have a room here that is available for community groups to come and meet on technology issues on the 2nd floor. So, you guys decide how often you folks want to meet. We have the ability. We have been bringing in a lot of speakers, a lot of thought leaders in AI for our professors and students for a long time now. And we'll be happy to carry on doing that. But let's see what we can do, right? We are going to invite some of the top CIOs in town to come and engage with this as well. so that, together with the corporations and the nonprofits, we can build a solid foundation for artificial intelligence in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Diwali. Hi, everyone. I've met some of you earlier. My name is Brent Nair, and I'm the Director of Corporate Training and Research Partnerships. It's my pleasure today to introduce our speaker, Pete Nicoletti. So, of course, before the talk, Pete sent a bio and stuff like that, and I said, you know what, let me just go out and see what's out there on the internet. So I first went to ChatGPT, and I said, tell me about Pete Nicoletti. And it said, well, I can't find Pete Nicoletti. So ChatGPT doesn't know about you. You're good so far. So then I went and I checked with Claude. And Claude said, I can only go back to 2023 and I don't have any records. So you're safe in both of those large language models. So then I went to Bing and Microsoft's Copilot. And Microsoft Copilot came back and said, Pete Nicoletti is a prominent figure in the field of cybersecurity. Here are some key details about him. Number one, background and expertise. Pete Nicoletti is the Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, at Cybrix, and has extensive experience in the industry. He's been a hands-on CISO for the last 20 years and recently joined Checkpoint Software Technology as the global CISO of the Americas. Pete Nicoletti is a founder, leader, and member of various security groups, including the ISSA, ISACA, U.S. Secret Service Electronic Crimes Task Force, the FBI InfoGuard, and the Cloud Security Alliance. His contributions have been recognized globally. And they gave me a little 3 so I can go look for the sources. And then it says AI scams and cybersecurity. Nicoletti has expertise in combating AI-driven scams. With the rise of artificial intelligence, more people are falling victim to kidnapping and other scams. Criminals can use AI to create realistic voice messages, often asking for money. They can even impersonate your phone number. Nicoletti recommends your family adopt a safe word for communications during particular or potential kidnapping scenarios. And then it gives a link to protect against. It goes that. And third, it said alteration of reality. Did you know you altered reality? Using a basic headshot and photos from social media, Nicoletti demonstrated how AI can alter reality. For instance, he transformed a photo of the Mississippi into one depicting Canadian wildfires. And then it says, in summary, Pete Nicoletti's contributions to cybersecurity and his insights into AI-related threats make him a valuable asset in safeguarding individuals and organizations against cybercrime. And then I asked it, well, can you tell me 2 truths and a lie about Pete? And so it said, certainly, here are 2 truths and 1 lie about Pete Nicoletti. So number 1 truth, Pete Nicoletti is the Chief Information Security Officer at Cybrix and has extensive experience. Okay, we've already got that's true. And it says the second truth, he's been a hands-on CISO for the last 20 years and recently joined Checkpoint Solutions as the global CISO for the Americas. That's also true. And then it says, here's the lie. It says, Nicoletti is an expert in AI-driven scams and recommends using a safe word for communication during potential kidnapping scenarios. So I don't know how Copilot came up in the previous telling me some truths about Pete, and then it got that as a lie. So, I think it was hallucinating there a little bit at the end. So, but without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Pete, not only to our stage, but to Memphis, Tennessee as well. Pete?
Okay. That's pretty funny stuff. Yeah, we're going to talk about hallucinations, and we're going to have a lot of fun today, especially with all the young faces out there, impressionable. Yes, I've got a pretty interesting career. I did spend $50 million of taxpayer money on a DARPA grant, so that's... Cybrix was one thing interesting about Cybrix is we were the only company that could find an IoT breach that occurred on these liquefied natural or liquefied gas transport ships. And if you think about it, the Chinese came through the cameras, all satellite connected, and they basically own these ships. And if you know how many billion BTUs that are stored in liquefied petroleum gas, you know that it's basically, if it comes near a port, it explodes and it's game over. So there were 6 ships, they were all infected, and there was the company that was managing the security, they bought everything, every possible security tool. We came in and found these indicators of compromise that nobody else could find. So it was quite an interesting story. Did spend a lot of money. I do a lot of writing and I do a lot of mentoring for people that want to go through the CISO path. So I've written a couple books on that and gotten a couple awards. And security's been very, very good to me. I like to tell students that I've actually, and I don't normally even say this to people except for students and whatnot, but as a CISO, I've made over $1 million twice because of investments and private stock. So hopefully you find that a little bit impressive. Not many people, hit that level. As a nerd, I had no idea, going through my first couple companies, I've actually lost millions of dollars and been underwater by millions of dollars with the wrong bet, but pulled it out. So now I'm bi-coastal. I live in Breckenridge in the Florida Keys. And so boring work stuff, let's talk about more fun stuff. So you're looking at a person that has world records in 2 very weird categories. I balance extremely heavy things on my chin. That's take your dad to school day. So you're up against cops, as nerds, you're up against cops and firefighters, right? So you gotta bring your A game if you're a nerd. So I dressed as Mr. Incredible, of course, and balance. And I'm also the world's loudest conch blower. So I know you not many conchs here in Memphis, but in the Keys it's a big thing, and I'm a 2-time winner. That's my sailboat, the Unsinkable 2. Okay, you guys are getting it. You know where this is going, right? So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. I just sold that boat. I like fishing. I like to sneak my kids into Black Hat. I'm a snake collector, orchid grower. All right, so since this is a little bit of a security focused thing, I want to prevent, how many people know Brian Krebs? All right, a couple people. I would suggest getting on his mailing list. It's one of the best mailing lists out there. You do not want him to call you and say, I want to talk to you about your situation. That means you're totally screwed. And so this is the world that we're living in. We're living in a world of vulnerabilities. As my introduction came out, we're also living in a post-real society. So when you combine, quantum encryption about to really come into its own, artificial intelligence, the fastest moving technology in the history of human race, with more users in a shorter time than any other technology ever. You're combining it with products that are rushed to market that have vulnerabilities. So we're living in a world that's very vulnerable, both humans and socially, but also the networks and the systems that we build. So how can we use artificial intelligence to defend against artificial intelligence? I like to say you need to bring a bigger AI gun to the AI gunfight, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about. So our agenda today is we're going to cover a lot of the risks, but I don't like to talk about risks without giving you guys, countermeasures. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we've seen out there as far as risks, and we're really going to get into some guidance and how you can incorporate AI into your business. Now this deck, further down the deck, has probably 250 different links. So this is a research deck. All of you guys will get it. We'll send it in to Brent and he'll be able to distribute it. It's got a lot of links and a lot of research you'll see here in a minute. And then we're going to have we're going to be able to give you guys questions, because one of the things that I like to build is leaders, especially when it comes to a new technology. And you folks need to be able to lead with deployment of artificial intelligence. And I'm going to teach you on what are the questions you're going to ask, what are the projects you're going to incorporate, and how are you going to leverage AI in your personal life as well as business life. So hopefully we'll cover all that real quick. So one of the interesting things about AI is return on investment. And this is spectacular. There's very few tools out there that can give you 10-to-1 returns. And I love it when you guys take pictures of the slides. I'm going to point at them so you can see me in the picture. But you guys get this deck. So it's cool that I'm in your picture, but you guys get the deck. One of the things that hopefully this deck will be able to point out is how to determine where in your business cycle artificial intelligence tools could be leveraged to help you gain that kind of ROI, because there's some spectacular wins, but if you pick the wrong project, it's embarrassing and it'll cost you money. You may lose proprietary data. So we're going to cover some of that here as we go through. Now, there's more good news. Hopefully there's no lawyers here. I like to mock lawyers because they're the #1 white-collar vertical that's going to be replaced with artificial intelligence. And I kind of like it that way, right? I use AI or ChatGPT and other AI tools to write contracts, to review contracts, to do whatever I want to replace a lawyer to where I don't have to call a lawyer anymore, and it's fantastic. Right now, the 3.5 and 4.0 are right at 140 IQ. They're passing tests, they're passing SATs, they're passing LSATs, they're passing advanced politics, history, statistics. 2 billion bits of information shoved in as part of the training for these tools, and it's got a bigger brain than all of us. So these are the things that are going to be replaced. Now, what's interesting is anything involving hands, you can't replace with AI yet until we have AI combined with robots, which is coming too. So construction, building, farming, fishing, maintenance, repair, all those things. If you're going into that career path, you're okay for the next 10, 20 years. But if you're a lawyer, sorry, not good. All right, so risks and awareness. You know, when ChatGPT and OpenAI just came out, the Samsung guys were the poster child of what not to do. One engineer posted a bunch of proprietary information, another one some proprietary code. And I've been to Samsung headquarters. It has higher security than federal buildings. I was more than patted down going into the Samsung headquarters. They take security very seriously, so they were pissed. So the other thing is, ChatGPT has been busted twice. It's been hacked twice. So even the licensed version, that information was stolen by hackers. So unless you build it yourself and host it yourself and protect it with checkpoint equipment, I'll be subtle about it. Okay, I get it. You're subject to your information out there. And we're going to talk a little bit about supply chain, because right now everybody here is using artificial intelligence. If you have a Netflix account or any kind of the music services, Salesforce.com, Oracle, any of the clouds, any search engine, we're all using it. So we got to get used to it, but how to use it safely so we don't expose our company or ourselves to risks. So there we go. What do we got next? So privacy breaches, you know, bias and fairness. So one of the not well-known things, and nobody brags about it, OpenAI certainly doesn't, is that the models were trained by a bunch of California engineers that went to Nigeria and paid people $2 an hour to help train their models. That bias, that California bias, hopefully Memphis is kind of a middle of the road, middle of the country kind of a world, but that bias is in ChatGPT in crazy different ways. And it's also in their new image drawing applications. If you ask for Native Americans, it's crazy what it'll come up with. There's just some, as humans, we have to be the arbiters of truth, because you're not going to get it from certain AI engines that were created and managed by crazy Californians. So misinformation, we just heard a perfect example of misinformation, and there's been cases where lawyers have used it to write briefs, and the briefs were filled with absolutely made up information, and the judge is like, that never happened, those people don't exist, and you just lost the case. So you have to be careful on how you're leveraging AI to make sure that you're not reporting a hallucination. Plus, some models are using dated information. ChatGPT is 2 years old, so don't ask it any kind of history that's 2 years old. I think I should be using this thing. How about that? That's yours? All right, we're going to swap it. That's mine, okay. I'm going to put yours here. There we go. So we talked a little bit about how the good guys are using, well, we haven't talked to good guys. Let's talk about how hackers are using it. So think about phishing now. This is no longer the Nigerian prince scam with misspellings and crazy things. The phishing guys now are leveraging social media information that they're scraping from your profile and your LinkedIn profile and previously hacked information from the hospital that just got hacked down the street. So they know everything about you, so they can target you. And their English is as good as college level English. And they're creating millions of these different phishing emails automatically, because it doesn't cost anything to create emails or send emails. So we're seeing crazy, awesome phishing emails, and only super advanced AI tools are able to spot these things. We just had a volunteer fire department was trying to raise some money, and they sent it out to the neighborhood of just 200 people, and the only thing that was wrong with it was the phone number. And if we didn't have artificial intelligence going and looking at every single aspect of that email, you wouldn't have known that it was some call center in India that was slurping money from this poor little neighborhood. So you have to, once again, bigger AI gun to fight the AI gunfight. If anybody here is a Python programmer, man, does ChatGPT rock for creating Python code. Now, of course, you can't ask it to create malicious code, but if anybody knows, how many people know Dan? Anybody heard that expression? Do anything now. It was first exposed on Reddit. It was a kind of a cool concept. Well, think of it as an Austin Powers movie where you have to ask it 3 times, right? What happens after the 3rd time? It finally gives up and answers you. That's sort of what ChatGPT is, where have you guys heard of prompt engineering? Prompt engineering, okay. By the way, you want to make 200 grand quick? Be a prompt engineer. The nodding guy. You want to make 200 grand? Yeah. Okay. Be a prompt engineer. I just wrote a cool white paper on prompt engineering for security professionals. I'll send it to Brent too. And it's the prompt that a normal person would ask, but ChatGPT is not going to answer, how to twist that to where ChatGPT will answer it. So you have to know how to trick it, basically, to make it do things that it normally wouldn't do. There's guardrails and all kinds of... Now, of course, the hackers are not necessarily using licensed things. If you go to the dark web, you can find everything for pennies. So photo creation, video creation, code creation, all without any trace of where it was created. So attribution of AI-created content is unbelievably tough. So photos, got lots of examples in here, videos. If anybody's using their bank and has voice verification, immediately stop doing that, because I can clone your voice in 30 seconds and make it say everything to answer. And of course, you've posted your favorite dog on Facebook. I know your favorite colors. I know the last place you traveled. So I can completely impersonate you quite easily. So let's see, financial, okay, anybody hear of the fake Zoom call from about a month ago, $24 million, where 6 out of the 7 people on the Zoom call were fake, and the CFO was there, totally duped, right? Anybody hear about it? Get ready for more of that. Get ready for more of that. So, well, let's talk about a countermeasure. I think it comes up later, but while we're talking about it. So one of the interesting things about AI today is that typically it's only a front-facing picture that they're modifying for the photo or videos. So if you ever suspect you're in an AI call, say, hey, turn around, let me see the back of your head. And that's the way to trick it, because they're not doing 360 scans yet. Now that's coming. Maybe you guys will invent it, but right now that's a way to do it. So code, target files. So the other thing, you can have it create code that are snippets. Say, I want code that captures keystrokes. And it goes, okay, I'll do that. Okay, I want a code that does one little thing. You start bolting that code together, now you have a zero-day malware that nobody's ever seen before and doesn't have Chinese or Russian notes in it to where you can see where it was sourced from. It has no attribution. Once again, that's one of the things that we're seeing with election fakes, is you don't know where they come from. You don't know who did it. Big problem. So, some benefits. Good side now. Ask ChatGPT to develop your policy on using ChatGPT. I think it's lovely irony that it writes a pretty good policy on how to use it to benefit you and how to not use it. So any kind of policy, any kind of disaster recovery policy, business continuity, great policy. Now, will it be perfect? Will it be ready to just put it in the binder and do it? No. You've got to edit it. You've got to review it. You have to have the expertise to where you edit that and make sure there's nothing stupid in there, because occasionally there is. So that's why you need to finish your school, keep going in your career, because you are going to be hopefully the masters of AI and not have AI master you. So legal reviews we talked about. Now, a lot of people are doing cyber insurance, and the policies there, guess what, folks? I know this might come as a surprise, but insurance companies do not want to pay for an event. So throw your cyber insurance policies in there and say which one's better, which one has limitations that I should be aware of, and it will analyze that and crap out good answers for you. All right, bonus, love poems. I've been married very happily for 32 years. We were having a little party with the family, and I wanted a really good love poem. So you start feeding it information, all this and that and this and that. And it takes iterations. You got to go through a couple iterations. Mine took about 5, and I'm reading that last 5th version. I'm like, oh my God, that's good. That's good. I read it out in the family. The wife's crying. The kids are like, damn, Dad, that's good. 20 seconds into it, the wife goes, ChatGPT wrote that. You didn't write that. So be careful if it's too good, because that's what happened to me. Did you just write one? Were you busted?
No.
All right. Okay. So deep fakes, voice fakes, all kinds of social engineering stuff that's out there. We're seeing crazy stuff. We've actually there's been 2 elections in India that flipped because of fake artificial intelligence created content. We're seeing both sides here in the United States with fake AI. We had fake Biden calls during the run-up. We've seen fake pictures of Trump with, constituents he's trying to address. So one of the things that I warn against is consider the source. If it's coming out of Reddit, okay, it might be a little crazy, it might be a little fringy. But here's the thing, as smart people that we are, don't be that person that distributes it and amplifies it. Because one of the things about news is the apology, once it's figured out that it's fake, is on page 220 on the bottom. So the initial part of the news is blown up, but the apology is 1% of that. So, and don't be that person that distributes that. So be careful and turn your spider senses up. When it looks crazy, it probably is crazy. So I got lots of different, here's where my links start, but there's all kinds of, now the laws can't keep up with this. AI is a dual use technology. Just like a gun is dual use. You can use it for protection, hunting, defense, etc. You can also kill people with it. AI is dual use as well. If it's used for good, it's fabulous. But as we're seeing here, it can be used by the bad guys. Now the problem with laws against it is you can't see the source. If it's made on the dark web with these tools, or if you download a tool from Hugging Faces and create this stuff yourself, there's no watermark. There's no way to trace it. There's no IP address. There's no MAC address. There's nothing in it. So you've got to be very, very careful with distributing this stuff because of that attribution issue. And by the way, the laws can't keep up with it. So if a law comes out and says you can't use deepfakes in AI, guess what? The criminals are going to do. They're going to use deepfakes to influence the election. Russia's already doing it. China's going to do it. So the laws are not going to stop us. They're not going to control this. The genie is out of the bottle. So let's see, real deepfakes, blah, blah, blah. A lot of stuff here to read later. All right. Now, if anybody's ever read NIST documentation, read it late at night because this stuff is deep, put you to sleep. But if you're trying to create policies, if you're trying to look at all the different issues related to AI within, protecting your large language model from fake data and whatnot, really you should be looking at this NIST document and that framework and working within that framework. They've really spent a lot of time. I participated in this. I've done a couple other NIST things I'm kind of proud of. But this is super duper helpful. If you're working at a company, this is the reference model you should use that looks at a lot of the different risks and issues of using it commercially. So I highly recommend that you study this, memorize it, test later. All right, so some countermeasures. So one of the things that's happening is people are creating fake profiles, not only with reusing pictures from legitimate people, but actually using AI to create brand new faces. So one of the things that I recommend is go to this FaceCheck ID tool, and there's a couple others that I have, that look up that face and ID it and see where it's being used, either authorized and unauthorized. I come up with William Shatner quite a bit. So apparently I look a little bit like William Shatner. I don't know if you get it or not, but I do get a little William Shatner. No back of the head we talked about. One of the other things, look down there at that last line. If you get an email from Amazon, your bank, there's a couple things that a phishing email is doing. It's assuming that you have a relationship with, and there's some kind of sense of urgency for you to click. Here's a refund, that's your packages, whatever it is. As smart people here in Memphis, don't click on those links. Go directly to the company. If it's Amazon, go directly to Amazon and see what's going on. Don't click on links, even if you think it's from your bank. All right, here at Checkpoint, one of the things I do as a CISO is I monitor all the stupid things our employees click on. Now, we're hyper security focused. If you know we're an Israeli company, we're off the chain as far as paranoia and not clicking on wrong links. When we do phishing tests, we still get about 6%, and that's the lowest that most companies will ever see. When I was at Hertz, it was 40, 50%. Everybody would click on everything. People don't realize you're connected to a sewage pipe, all right? And unless you have a checkpoint tool protecting your email, you're going to be clicking on these links that are terrible. So don't click on the links. If you learn one thing today from me, don't click on links that come in an email. So deepfakes, in 6 months, the tools have improved so much to where it used to be the six-finger joke. It used to be the shadow under the eyeglasses. It used to be skin tones. Not anymore, folks. The tools have improved just in a few months to where, and I study this, I focus on this. There is AI-created stuff that I cannot tell is fake. I mean, zooming in, zooming out, doing all kinds of stuff, you just can't see it. But there are a couple of deepfake tools out there. There's some links here that will catch things that a human can't even catch. So be aware of this. And you be the ones that spot these deepfakes and bust it on Twitter or wherever your source is. How many people here, by the way, use TikTok? You know what TikTok is, right? A tool from the CCP to spy on everything that you're doing on your phone. If this was a security conference, I would sit here and wait until he deletes TikTok. But since we're friends, suffice it to say, this is a warning to the rest of you. Please delete TikTok. Don't allow. TikTok is the crack cocaine of social media apps. TikTok's not allowed in China. Do you guys know that? TikTok in China is children's graduation, how to respect your parents, museum visits. TikTok United States is twerking and other things I don't even know what are. You just get away from the crack cocaine, folks. All right, the other thing is we saw March Madness, we saw it during, who's the girl singer that I don't like? Everybody's crazy about. Who? Not Beyonce, the girl that's dating the Kansas City. Taylor Swift. Swifties, right, thank you. Yeah, I block it from my mind. I'm just not a Swiftie. But anyway, tons of fake tickets, tons of fake profiles, all artificially created. There's one person selling one single ticket 1,000 times. So be super careful with online profiles. Run that picture through as soon as you possibly can if you're communicating with them. Do a video, face-to-face or video call, because there's so many people that are being fooled by these online profiles. Now, as experts, you're not going to get fooled, but your parents and grandparents are going to get fooled. So dinner conversation needs to be, hey, mom and dad, be careful about this. Look into this. If you have a question, if you're getting a call from India because your Microsoft has a virus and they want you to send Apple, Amazon cards to them, they need to talk to you about that before they go get cards and do crazy stuff. So as experts, we need to be the ones catching this and helping society. All right, so we talked a little bit about the fake video call. It's just a cousin to Beck. If you guys remember business email compromise in your Security 101 classes, okay. You've got to have code words. You have to have, and we've seen 6 cases of ransomware where somebody cloned a young girl's voice, not ransomware, but ransom, and they called the parents or grandparents saying, we've got your kids. Now, with the AI tools that I use, I can turn the knob and add stress to that voice to where it sounds like they're under duress. And I've got recordings of Mexican prisons where people are just screaming and going nuts. You put that on the background, turn the knob up, and grandma's going to send you $500. And we've seen it again and again. So have that talk with your kids, make sure you have a code word. Same thing goes with the business. Make sure that there's not a single vulnerability that allows a money transfer to occur. It has to be validated, sometimes 3 people, those kind of things. The other thing that we're seeing is you want to have a banner pop up. You know, a lot of email companies have it to where they have a banner, this is an external email, be careful. Same thing goes with an external Zoom call, because it can have your logos, it can look like a corporate Zoom call, but it's an external Zoom license. And it might not even be a Zoom license. It might be a Zoom clone that looks like that with Zoom in the name and whatnot. So be super careful when you do this. People have lost lots of money. And we're going to see it again and again and again. It's such a good scam. People fall for it, and it's easy. Use your spider senses. Be the go-to expert. All right, so let's get into some risk-reward trade-offs. How's my time? We're cranking? Good, okay. All right, so time savings, you know, I'm a huge fan of using it. How many people are using ChatGPT? Let's just see. All right, so most everybody here is using it. Super helpful, gives you some ideas. Anybody using image creation tools? All right, super cool. My brother just retired as a cop. I tried to have it, and he one time embarrassed us and wore a leopard bikini into a restaurant. None of the image creation tools will have a cop in a leopard bikini. I just haven't figured out how to ask ChatGPT or one of the tools to do it. So if you guys can, that'd be fun. But no empathy, they're fragile, context problems. Sometimes you ask it a question, you're like, how the hell did it think that was the question? Because it just doesn't know context. It's not, there's no facial, you know, there's no social cues or whatnot, so you got to do it. And, you know, ethics bypass, we talked about how you can ask it 3 times and prompt engineering is, but the dark web tools have no ethics, 0 ethics, no watermarking, no guardrails, no end user license agreement that you ignore and click anyway. Everybody reads their EULAs, right? On how they're using, that's another thing. You guys are going to have to start reading those end user license agreements, because in a lot of cases, they're taking your information that you're asking and they're commingling it with other people using it, and they're making their tool better for everybody, which you lose your competitive advantage for. You want it to be just for you. So if you want it just for you, you're going to have to go to Hugging Faces. How many people know Hugging Faces? Oh, good crowd here. Download your own tools, your own LLMs, train it with your own data, and have it running on your own processor, and once again, protected with checkpoint technologies. All right, here's something cool. I've seen the betas of this. Facial recognition glasses. Now think of this. This is a nerd panacea, because people like me walking into a bar, you know, you wouldn't know this, but I used to be tongue-tied and couldn't talk to girls, right? With these superhuman glasses, I zoom in on the girl, pulls up her Facebook account, shows that she loves horses. I walk up, I know her name. Hey, I'm Pete, I love horses too. And the conversation goes. And it's all because of AI and facial recognition, and so too much overposting in social media. This is coming, folks. It's coming. All right, so one of the other thing is about meeting bots. Now, in my company on April 1st, I sent out an April Fool's joke, and I said, do not allow, you know, here's a new announcement of an AI meeting bot. Had some insider jokes, but I said, do not have everyone send their meeting bot to the meeting and not have a human, because they start their own language and we don't know what they're talking about. That's happening, folks. I don't know if you've seen any of the news, nerd news, on when AIs get together, they develop their own language and we don't know what they're saying. Don't introduce them to dystopian AI movies like Terminator. Don't teach them that. Don't let them see those movies or talk about those movies, or it's all over. All right, fake content. You know, once again, about 2 minutes of voice, a picture on LinkedIn, and I can make it say anything I want. And now the tools are real-time live. So as I talk into a mic, I can have the AI head say whatever I want. So that's where it's at now, folks. All right, top generative tools. One of the things that I do have in here is all of the top AI newsletters that you need to sign up for. So sign up for them. There's so much investment going on, so much development, so many new tools. It's just absolutely amazing that the technology's taken off. Hundreds of millions of people are using these tools. And there's if you're not up to the minute, you know, if I go on vacation for weeks, I come back and I'm like, what the hell just happened? All kinds of crazy stuff got developed. All right, so let's talk a little bit about security, defender, and adversary. So the adversaries are, like we talked about, they're creating targeted phishing, they're creating zero-day malware, deepfakes, bots, QR codes that go to malicious links, all kinds of, you know, crazy different attacks. They're circumventing the AI ethics. If you don't have AI battling AI, you will be taken advantage. You will lose. Humans are not fast enough. We don't have access to all the information that an AI tool does that can see these types of zero-day attacks and come up with countermeasures. So if your tools don't have artificial intelligence, if your email system, your firewalls, your endpoint tools, your cloud tools, if they don't have extremely advanced AI built into it, you will be losing. You will be a statistic, and you will be hacked. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how checkpoints use it. Okay, real quick then. Here's some, and you guys get this deck so you can kind of see all this stuff. But what these tools have to do is examine, we have hundreds of thousands of customers, or 200,000 customers, and we're looking at 2 billion websites a day and coming up with this malicious information. Now, it's one thing to see it, but then the next stage is developing a countermeasure, and then the next stage is getting that countermeasure deployed. And in our case, we can do it in 3 seconds. There's no other company out there that can do it that fast. So look at the efficacy. We'll talk about efficacy next. All right, this is a good slide. Yeah, we're a leading company. Well, the cool thing is we're one of the best places in the world to work worldwide. So I always like to say happy employees make happy customers. So, and my checkpoint buddies will tell you we're happy, right? HR says be happy. So this is what it boils down to when we talk about, you know, companies can turn the knobs in their businesses. How fast you want to grow, how fast you want to develop, how fast you need to get the next version of software out. Well, in the case of our peers, this is what's killing our peers and where we're standing way ahead. The number of vulnerabilities in their products. Does everybody follow CVEs when they're announced on Microsoft and Fortinet? I see some heads nodding. He's got the cool laptop with the cool stickers. I get you. You got it. But these companies are selling us security tools that are being exploited. And the companies are being raped by the Chinese and Russians and others. And you just can't have that. So be aware of these kind of stats. And then the final thing I want to talk about is efficacy. When people buy things, cars, whatever, usually price is the #1 criteria. In security tools, I want you to not think of price except further down. Security tools need to be purchased by efficacy. How good is it compared to the peers? And look at those studies, find the studies that compare it. horse race it in your own environment, et cetera, because you have to get efficacy. The other thing that's really interesting in our business is detection versus prevention. Detection is like that stupid ad where the guy's in the bank, oh no, you're robbing the bank, I detect you. Prevention is the person that pulls the gun out and shoots the robber, right, and stops the thing from happening. Make sure your tools move into that prevention mode of operation. All right, so some business discussions. We're going to have a couple slides here. Take baby steps. There's a lot of AI consultants out there that actually look at your business, look at where AI could be used to increase your efficiency, look at your competitive advantages. You guys are going to be those people someday, right? You're going to be working at a company and you're going to be looking at a process and saying, man, I could replace this with some AI stuff and be a hero. So hopefully you're going to be doing that, just like the good doctor pointed out, that Memphis is going to be the central location for that. I'm going to have Checkpoint reach out to the doctor and see if there's anything we can develop. So we're going to think about that. Supply chain we talked about. As leaders in your companies, you're going to have to stop people from leveraging AI tools that could hurt, whether it's by proprietary data leaving the company, by not having a good agreement to where that data is being used and how it's used. It might be used against you. So look at that, monitor and enforce. We're announcing some cool tools at RSA where we actually look at who's using AI tools within the company and manage and monitor that. So these are the questions that you bring back to your group. This is like your discussion questions. How are you using it? How are you controlling it? What are the best practices that we should be leveraging? So all these kind of tools or these kind of questions are kind of fun to bring back to your teams, your group, your family even, and talk about it. All right, last slide before all the reference slides. Is everybody tracking on the singularity? The singularity is when AI gets a soul. When Turing turns over in his grave. When Isaac Asimov's 3 rules of robotics are completely thrown out the window. It's coming, folks. I'm quite pessimistic about it, actually, and looking forward to retirement and unplugging from the internet. It's coming for me, not for you. So, by show of hands, let's start with near term. Singularity within 5 years. Anybody? Singularity in 5 years. Okay, you guys are optimistic. All right, singularity, AI has a soul, 10 years. Okay, about 1/3 of you. All right, let's go 20 years. Most people. All right, AI never gets a soul. Okay. I'm going to remember you two. Yes, of course, of course. I think, though, there's a point, I don't want to say a soul, but gets enough of a consciousness and enough CPU power to where it's absolutely indiscernible from a human being. So anyway, real quick, let me show you. Here's all. I've got some media appearances. I've done some Good Morning stuff, Good Morning America stuff, lots of different interviews and stuff like that. But here's where here's killer apps, the top killer apps that you should be aware of and using and leveraging. Then I've got all kinds of deepfakes links. I've got all kinds of influence and bots and resources. And I'm one of those people that shows you the whole URL. I don't like hidden URLs, and I don't like any market tracking information in my URL. So if you ever share a URL with somebody else, get all that marketing tracking information out of that. Otherwise, it really ticks off security nerds like me. Algorithms and resources. All right, here's the newsletters. That TLDR is a great one. 5-minute one. These are great ones. CB Insights has the top 100 venture capitals. This Fry one's good. There's all kinds of good stuff. National security resources and some books you need to be putting up, reading, and putting on your shelf. And I'm done. Thank you very much. It's time for questions. All right, the cool mics. I want to see these work. Hamilton, I'm ready for you.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. If he's already speaking, that's fine. I'll ask. You sure? Oh, okay.
You're it.
I was wondering, you know, with the development, all these 8 different AI tools and stuff, how do you know which one is the most, how should I say, efficacious to use, you know, besides the ChatGPT, the one that, you know, because you notice that nowadays, almost every single social media page, somehow you will, those recommend ads for this particular AI tool is going to be useful, and that particular AI tool is useful. Like, for example, well, in fact, you just remember one of the slides, I think you gave a whole list of different AI tools. How do you discern which one is the most useful?
Good question.
Yeah.
So there are rating sites out there that are rating and testing the various tools, and it'll tell you where they test high and where they test low. So in those newsletters that I just said, I think it had Fry has it. If you go out to their webpage, they will have the ratings of, you know, search engine add-ins. They'll have the ratings on the legal plugins. So they are rated and ranked continuously. So it's a great question, but if you spend a little time in research, you'll be able to find which one is going to be appropriate for your challenge and pick the one that's highest rated. But here's the thing, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
It radically changes, you know. 3.5 used to kick 4.0's butt.
Yeah.
And now 4.0 has been tweaked a little bit. Now it does things better than 3.5. And so it's really a very dynamic thing. So good question, challenge, but there is ratings out there.
Thanks. Also, just a quick question about the last slides on regards to singularity. Is it possible that the development pace of the AI technologies actually either far surpass what we expect it to be? You know how, for example, different country, for example, we don't know what's happening in China in terms of their, right?
And we don't know what our military is up to either.
Exactly. So, I mean, when you asked that question earlier about time frame of quote unquote having AI processors, so that's really based on what we know so far. Am I right?
That's public, exactly right. Right now, I've had top secret clearance, so I've seen stuff that is still not publicly acknowledged. We just saw the Air Force targeting exercise where the AI engine killed the dude that said, hey, don't take out that air defense, because its job was to stop anything in that. So there was all kinds of crazy stuff coming out of the Air Force. We also know the Israelis are using artificial intelligence to target terrorists in Gaza, and that's today. So right now we know humans are being killed by AI guidance. It's absolutely happening. So it has to be up to us and our ethics and our control and our overlord ability to make sure that AI doesn't make wrong decisions, and we give it right information and we interpret the decisions from it. So you're right. There's all kinds of things going on, and that's why the good doctor here is talking about Memphis being the central. We absolutely have to beat China. It's going to be a nation-state race to who leverages AI to help them. Right now, more people in China use AI than the United States. It's far more leveraged in China. So we're behind. We're absolutely behind. It's great, 2 questions.
So we have time for about 2 more questions. Sorry, we can continue outside, but we've got food and stuff for everybody. So apologize for that. So who's up next? Ronnie?
I see. First, thank you so much for speaking, but my question is, how do I learn more from people like you or just other people? Because from this meeting, I was able to learn that in just 1 hour, being around the right people can really improve how you think and improve your mindset. Because before, I did have a view and an understanding of AI that came from like my full stack development experience, my data analytics experience, and my college degree. But just hearing you speak showed of how it shaped, like when the doctor mentioned like getting a group of people together that would make sure that AI shapes 901 or the Memphis community in a way that has a positive impact on the Memphis community. I never even realized how many moving parts there was to that. And so that's something I'm just very interested in learning.
You sort of answered your own question, Hamilton. This AII, now is that the area code here?
Yes.
Ah, okay, so I'm not completely stupid. Yeah, so there's the group that the good doctor's putting together, and I'd like to offer right now, we'll send in more experts. We'll send in people that are actually building pure AI models for cybersecurity. I talked about all kinds of crap today, right? If you guys want to focus on just specific things within security or specific things that I have influence in, we'll certainly talk to the good doctor and send in more experts to help. But it's the fastest evolving technology in the history of the human race. So don't feel like you're behind, because everybody's behind. It's evolving, more users than anything ever. So, books are out of date before they're published. All right? That's the crazy thing. If it's a book, that's so last year. You've got to be signed up for newsletters. You've got to be getting, going to these different links that I share with you, getting the basics down, and then seeing what the news is every day. There's some kind of news coming in, and you have to focus on, what if it's your business vertical. There's news happening where businesses are leveraging it. Right now pharmaceuticals are going nuts with artificial intelligence. It's also causing the most suicides. It's a weird little factoid. Humans working only with AI agents tend to kill themselves more often, and it's happening in the pharmaceutical world. You heard about it? Yeah. It's a crazy.
One more question.
All right, one more burning question.
Well, whose mic's going to turn red?
Okay. All right. In traditional security, employees are usually the weakest link.
Yes.
What are some of the cyber hygiene behaviors or best practices when it comes to hygiene behavior with specific to AI? And as a CISO, what are your challenges in instituting that?
So years ago, I used to be a big proponent of employee training and getting people involved in the security team and helping out and watching out for phishing and all that stuff, making sure they don't. That's out the window. If you don't have tools to protect your dumb employees, you will be hacked. Period. End of story. So you've got to give, and these tools have to lubricate business. They can't get in the way of business. I used to say I like to be the no CISO, not the no CISO. The KNOW CISO, not the NO. I used to be a wall of shame CISO, where if you did something stupid, I would, you're really, like the black hat guys. Now, I've gone opposite to the carrot guy, where if you do something right, I'm going to send you a cool security team hat. But the bottom line to your question is, you have to protect the employee. You have to have any phishing tools to prevent, their email, because like I said before, you're connected to a sewage pipe. Then if they do click on something, you have to have an endpoint tool that prevents them from executing that malware that turns into ransomware. Then you have to have firewalls and a zero trust strategy and microsegmentation that prevents you from infecting the entire organization. And you have to have all these controls that are managed by smart people. So you have to save the day. You guys are going to be the smart people that save the dumb employees, because no amount of training can save people from doing dumb things. I absolutely assure you. My first week at Hertz, I show up, and it was the Ashley Madison hack. Everybody remember the cheater site? All right. So I download the database of all the Ashley Madison Hertz employees. There was 250 of them, and out of 250 of them, 200 of them used their Active Directory password. Now, one of the things hackers are doing is when they get that name and password, they have 5,000 sites that they try to log in with that combination. Have you guys all been to Have I Been Pwned? Have I Been Pwned? Okay, good. It added cell phones now to it. So if your cell phone and SMS has been compromised, so go to Have I Been Pwned, see all the websites. Do not use the same password everywhere. Dumb employees will do that. You've got to protect them. And I think that's our last question, Brent.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, thank you very much.
Here's a little gift. Thank you for being here. We
Is
appreciate
it real or is it?
It's not AI made.
Okay.
It's definitely real.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you very much.
In closing, Rami and I just wanted to say thank you all for being here. We've got some snacks and food outside. We have an AI
Yes.
open to the public, an
Yes.
AI training event on the 30th.
30th of April here at the Institute. So go to our website. One second, sorry.
We'll pop it up. We're also going to have some other activities. We're going to have a hot summer of AI and then a fall into AI. So stay tuned. And I thank you all for being here. And please stick around, mingle. And as Dr. Diwali said, this is your meetup, not ours.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
There is a sign-in sheet outside. If you are willing to further the conversation here with 901 AI, please sign up. It's at the registration desk. From a research perspective, the university is open for business. In that respect, we have great world-class researchers. I know Pete has offered his company's experience and expertise. And if you are willing or wanting to get involved with the university in that way, please get involved. See myself, Brent, Dr. Dhaliwal, or any of our other colleagues here at the FIT. Our AI Foundations training class, as we said, in person here at the FIT, April 30th. It's 8:30 to 3:30 p.m. all day. So with that, please, thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I put one here. Yep, thank you.
Good job.
Was that fun?
That was fun.
Okay, good. All kinds of craziness.
time's your flight? I was worried. I kept getting worried about your flight.
7:30, so
Okay, you're okay.
pretty much boogie.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was great. That was fun. Yeah. I will be following up with you.
I give you my card.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
I like what you're doing.
Are you based on
Breck